morning, good morning, good morning. What's up, what's up, what's up? Hope you guys are having a good start of your week so far. So today is pretty chill, guys. I just checked Forex Factory. We don't have too much going on, if not anything. It's gonna be a chill morning, start of the week. Looking for a bearish correction on gold. Ever since last week, we have been in a lot of bullish momentum. Looking at the daily time frame, you clearly see that gold is pushing up as well. We're looking for that retracement. Around 1900 or 1902 to be more specific. So we could get that push this morning. Let's go ahead and check investing.com real quick. All right, so gold still has room to push up. As you guys can see, it has a lot of bullish momentum. It's in a strong buy right now. So again, I'm just gonna wait until we hit that specific area to target my my sells. All right, guys, check this out. I want to talk about something real quick. So when it comes to the boxing method or the back boxing strategy that I use on all my pairs, sometimes it does not work, okay? And this is a great example. So let's say you box in price like this, which is perfectly fine, right? Price is clearly going to support resistance, right? We have a touch right here. We have a touch right here. People are selling, taking all these opportunities. And of course, people are buying right here. People are also buying right here. And people are also buying right here, right? This is retail concept, support resistance. You buy at a given area of support and you sell at a given area of resistance. And usually when you see something like this, you'll box in price and then push this box out like this, right? You can clearly see in the future, price also makes another touch right here. But if we look over here, you know, usually when it comes in the boxing method or the boxing strategy, you want to wait for price to have a breakout to catch a continuation. So in this example, if we're looking around this area, we would want price to have a continuation outside of this box or outside of this zone, right? Because the whole concept of the boxing strategy is to find a break of structure. So this right here, breaking that structure, we'd want to have a continuation. But as you guys can see, price doesn't do that. It comes back into the zone. So I did say 9 times out of 10 that sometimes price will actually just come back into that range and continue to consolidate. So as you guys can see, price wasn't ready to continue to sell, came back inside, and then it went back up to that level of resistance to push down. So here's a great example of when that break of structure won't work, but it still respects that box, right? It still respects price that we had marked up previously, right? So that's just an example. And over here as well, notice how price has a breaker structure right here. This is on EuroCAD. It does its thing for a while, and then it comes back to that newly found resistance after having that breaker structure, right? It does push down, but eventually it comes back into that zone. And then look what happens over here. It has a breakout, and it has a nice break and retest, right? Breaking out of that zone, that structure that we had marked up, and then has a continuation, a bullish continuation. So sometimes it won't be perfect. Sometimes you guys will get a break of structure. It will respect the box or the zone that you have marked up, but it won't always look as clean. So sometimes it might take a while for price to come back to that range, but 9 times out of 10, it will respect that break of structure. So right here, we have a breakout. It respects that zone, it respects that push, but then it comes back inside. On gold, or I'm sorry, this was on GBP USD. We didn't get so lucky. So although we have this marked up, we have a nice break of structure, but price decides to come back in, but it respects that price or respects that zone. So main takeaway, yes, the box strategy does work, guys, but when it comes to looking for that breaker structure, it won't always be as clean. All right, that's the main point I'm trying to get across. So just be careful when you guys have that marked up and you're looking for a nice breaker structure, because it's not always going to be guaranteed. So the best way to trade this concept is from support and resistance. If you're trading breakouts, just be more careful because it won't always be as clean like we've gotten last week, okay? Or the week before that, because I wasn't live last week. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, you guys just let me know. Sometimes I speak fast or I explain things that make sense to me. If it doesn't make sense, I'll explain it again. If not, we should be good. But yeah, this morning I'm looking for sells on gold, guys, around 1900, looking for that nice bearish correction or reversal. Daily time frame, notice that we are pushing up in the market, but price won't always push up or price won't always push down. It has to rebalance. It has to have a small pushback, retracement before it has a continuation. So that's what I'm looking for on gold. We can also check the RSI in a second, but just given top-down analysis, I noticed that gold is pushing up, so we want to look for a small retracement if one, looking for a continuation, or two, a potential reversal in the market. So around 1900, 1901, I'll be looking for sells.
Ponca City, Blackwell area, 68 degrees today. Winds southerly at about 15 with gusts of 25 miles an hour. Barometric pressure 30.00 and is rising. And no precipitation. We're about a half inch behind, correction, a half inch ahead for the year, and 1 53/100ths behind for the year so far. We'll be looking for a little bit of a change tomorrow, and of course the possibility of some scattered showers. Today, of course, there's nothing showing up on the radar. However, the satellite photo was pretty interesting for the western half of the U.S. Rain showers and thunder showers along that frontal system, and that wide band of fairly heavy snows. Now, what will happen each time that you see the frontal system on there, that begins at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then you'll see the cloud pattern move until 2 o'clock this afternoon. So as of that time, of course, the front was way off in the northwest. Now, however, it's moving into the central part of the nation with a couple of high-pressure cells behind it. And a few pockets of low pressure and a fairly heavy band of rain showers and snow all the way from the eastern portions of Montana down to western sections of Nevada. And of course the massive high picking up warm noise there from the south bringing northward. More than 2 masses flying.
All right, so on GU, I'm looking for a bullish continuation. Hopefully we get a nice breakout to the upside. Notice how I drew this money sign on top of our zone because I'm looking for a liquidity grab to the upside, taking out all these highs right here. So basically on the downside, notice how we had this bullish, or I'm sorry, this bearish candle right here, take out these lows. So there's not much going on below this zone, right? Because if we think about it, if people are buying right here, right? People are also buying right here or have bought, since this is past tense, right? People have bought right here and people have bought right here. So if we think about this logically, right? When we talk about the concept of liquidity, well, all this volume between the entry and stop loss holds something, right? It holds money that people are taking out where you're trading against these other traders, institutions, these banks, right? So when we talk about liquidity, liquidity grabs, this bearish candle took out all these orders. But if we look on the upside, above this, nothing really happened. So there's a better chance for price to be attracted to this area since nothing really happened over here, rather than the downside that was already taken out, if that makes sense. So because we had this bearish candle, which took out all these lows, we have a better chance of getting something out of this since we haven't had any action. So 9 times out of 10, when we talk about liquidity, you have your range marked up. You're using the box strategy. You want to look for the area that hasn't been touched. So there's a better chance for liquidity to be swiped to the upside than the downside because it already got grabbed from previous price. So there's not much liquidity floating below this zone rather than the upside, if that makes sense. So this is why I'm looking for a breakout from the upside rather than downside because we already got something. So this line that I marked up as well, if we go ahead and scale in a 2 hour, I'm simply just marking up an area that I think price is going to retrace off of to have that breakout eventually. So the objective is to find a breakout around this area for price to have continuation into another range after we have a nice retracement. So simply just finding structure, break and retest. We have previous price right here, looking for that nice bounce to have a nice continuation for that bullish push so that we can eventually have that bullish breakout, taking out all these orders right here. Because again, people are selling right here. People are also selling right here. So there is some sort of value floating above this zone that needs to be taken out. If that doesn't make sense, I will explain it again. But that's what I'm thinking. And that's on GU, guys. Let me go ahead and send this to the Discord. After continuation, yeah. Continuation. I think I spelled that right. All right, so if you guys notice on Euro CHF, this is a good example of the RSI that I talked about previously. So the relative strength index pretty much tells us if price is oversold or overbought at a given area. So if you guys notice, Euro CHF is selling. We also have this nice gap. If you check your MT5 or MT4, you'll notice that price is in that territory. So I don't know if you guys can see that. The price is near that zone, which tells me that we need a buy. But if we go in a 30-minute time frame, you can clearly see that's already pushing up. It kind of wicked off of that zone. So in the future, execution-wise, when you guys notice this, if you have a market gap and you notice that the RSI is nearing that area, then it's best to place limits, right? So a buy limit would have been best for this type of execution since price is already pushing up. And on the RSI, you can clearly see that it's kind of pushing off of that zone already. So it is kind of too late to enter in unless we have a pullback back down to that area. Then I might execute this morning, but I don't want to risk it since we only have like two confirmations being that gap in RSI. Because again, it's all about high probability. I don't want to just go off of two confirmations, but this is just a good example of what that RSI looks like when price is oversold. So because price is oversold, it's pushing up. I'm not sure if it's going to continue to push up. We might have another small pullback. If we do, we can most definitely execute once price is in that range again. But if you guys go on your MT4, MT5, click on chart, and if you guys have the RSI up, you should notice that price is in that territory. So I'm gonna give it another 7 minutes. We're gonna try to look for some setups. But this is gonna be a slow morning. If you guys have any questions, want me to analyze any pairs that you guys are trading, let me know. Otherwise, we're just gonna be chilling. My mic was off. All right, guys. So worst case scenario, price moves extremely slow this morning, and we just place a buy stop once we get near that zone. So if I don't execute anything manually this morning, I'll just put in buy stops and then send updates in the Discord. Again, we're waiting for price to hit this support to have a breakout to the upside to grab all this that's floating above, to have that nice bullish continuation. We're simply waiting for price to have a nice retracement. I know people are hopping in right now for buys up to that support, but we want to wait until we have a nice breakout so that we know for a fact price is well done with this zone. It's getting ready to push up. We want to have that nice bullish continuation, and we want to try to find a new range for price to be attracted to. So that's what I'm looking for. I'd rather find the bigger move of that breakout instead of that small retracement. So that's on GBP USD. On gold, simply waiting for a nice area to find a sell. I know people are selling right now, but if we wait, not only will we have a safer stop loss, but we know, using top-down analysis, that price is going to have a nice reversal, having nice structure off of that daily resistance to have that nice continuation, right? I say people are selling right now because if you scale in on the 2 hour, even on the 1 hour, you'll notice that we do have some sort of structure right here, but we have a lot of wicks, meaning that there's a lot of fake outs, a lot of people getting faked out in the market around this area. So I want to wait until we know for a fact that price is safe at this area at around 1901, where on the daily time frame, we have clear indications that price is respecting this line or this targeted area. So that's my perspective on gold. That's what I'm waiting for. That's pretty much it. So I'm only looking at 2 pairs, which is okay, I guess. Like I said, this morning's gonna be pretty slow. If you guys have any pairs you want me to analyze, let me know. Well, there's my 2 pairs I'm looking at that I sent out in Discord as well. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, we're just chilling. We're gonna watch this video real quick, guys.
Humbled yesterday after his comments that rates may have to go higher to rein in inflation. Watch this.
The latest economic data have come in stronger than expected. If the totality of the data were to indicate that faster tightening is warranted, we'd be prepared to increase the pace of rate hikes.
Joining me now is the Bear Traps Report founder and New York Times bestselling author, Larry McDonald. Larry, it's great to see you. Thanks so much for being here. I want to get your take on Jay Powell yesterday. What did you make of the speech?
Well, it's kind of like he's overcooking the goose. They're playing catch up, and while they were doing quantitative easing in 2021, inflation started to rage, and now they're trying to catch up.
So someone sent me this video. I was gonna make a separate YouTube video talking about this, my reaction, giving my input on the market crash that people are predicting. But experts are saying that there is going to be a stock market crash within a few days. So I'm doing research on that this week before I give my input and put it out on YouTube because I don't want to put out misinformation. But this is pretty scary, guys, especially for those that are holding. I'm not just talking about trading in general or Forex trading, but people that are actually holding longevity-wise. A lot of people are freaking out. They're taking out their shares. They're taking out their positions because they're afraid that they're going to lose it all, right? And we're talking about the market crash. So haven't watched this video yet, but I'm going to watch it real quick. I'm just going to scheme through it, and then later this week, I might put out a video talking about my input on the market crash, what's going to happen, so you guys are well educated through my perspective.
Maria, our 21 Lehman systemic risk indicators that look at equity and credit point to one of the highest probabilities of a crash in the stock market looking out 60 days.
Wow, 60 days? You're saying you're going to see it? We're going to see a crash in the stock market within 60 days?
Yes, because the withdrawal of capital from the middle class families is so spectacular. For every 1% increase, now, a lot of these economists and Wall Street people, they throw around, oh, the Fed's hiking basis, 100 basis points, 50 basis points. The bottom line is, for every 1% increase in rates, and we've done almost 5% now, every 1% takes $50 billion out of the pockets of middle-class families. Auto loans right now are approaching 14%. Almost 20% of auto loans are $1,000 a month. And so the middle-class families are getting hammered here. And so the consumer pressure is, violent. But on the high end, the wealthy are doing well with excess savings and higher interest rates.
Yeah, well, look, I'm glad you brought up rates because we're talking about the 2-year above 5% today. Mortgage rates, just out moments ago, the 30-year fixed rate up again now to 6.79% last week. I mean, Larry, the last time we saw mortgage rates shoot up this way, we saw real demand destruction. People were walking away from their mortgages. A new Fannie Mae survey finds Americans are pessimistic about their personal financial outlook. 31% of Americans said that they expect their personal finances to improve over the next year. But that's the lowest reading since 2010. Larry, before you get into what we're looking at in terms of rates and the impact, I want to bring Adam Johnson in here because he's on the other side of this trade. Adam, you're not expecting a recession.
No, I'm not expecting a recession, and my argument is the two E's of earnings and employment. Employment's at an all-time high, and earnings, while not stunning, are better than feared, and revenues are actually rising 5%. Larry, I'm curious, you made the comment that there's some sort of pending crash coming up in 60 days. I mean, that's a pretty bold statement.
Days.
I mean,
that's what he's getting from his Lehman indicators. He talks to so many institutions every day. Go ahead.
But I mean, 60 days, Larry. I mean, do you really believe that your indicators are right, and that there's some sort of crash when you have the most amount of people ever making the most amount of money ever, spending the most amount of money ever, and it's translating into earnings that, while not stellar, are enabling revenues to actually rise?
Go ahead, Larry.
Well, remember, if you have $10 million in the stock market 2 years ago, you're flat, okay? So there's a lot of people that have had money in the market for a long time, all these failed rallies. That's beating on the psychology of investors, number one. Number two, $10 million in cash today generates $510,000.
So yeah, guys, I'm definitely going to have to do my research this week before I put my input on YouTube because I don't want to put out any false information, but this is pretty scary. Definitely do my research this week so that I know for a fact my perspective on all this. But let me know what you guys think. If you guys want me to give my input on YouTube, I most definitely will put out this week. If you guys don't understand this, I'll explain it as well through my perspective. I know sometimes when you guys watch videos like this, it might not make sense until you're listening to someone you actually watch. So I might have to make a video just like I did on the inflation video that I put out a few months ago. But it's definitely important to stay informed, guys. You don't want to just trade in the market, especially if you're dealing with financial markets like Forex, because anything could happen. We trade news as well. From a fundamental perspective, this is like half of it. This isn't the whole global perspective when we talk about the economy. This is kind of just the news announcements for these given pairs like NZD, AUD, CAD, Euro, etc. But when it comes to a global perspective, it's definitely important to stay informed. Even if you don't trade fundamentals, if you don't pay attention to the news, just be informed in general so that you have an idea of what's happening around.
A year in treasuries, in 1 year treasuries.
Wow.
Okay, think about that. A year ago, you're talking.
So we have about 9 more minutes. I'm gonna look back on the chart, see if we have any setups. If I can execute anything, I will. Otherwise, again, we're simply just looking at GU. For those of you that just joined, looking for that break of structure to the upside so we can take out all these orders that are floating above right here. And then on gold, I'm simply waiting for a good area to target sells. I know some people are targeting this area right now, which is fine. If I miss it, I miss it. But I want to make sure my stop loss is safe and we have a nice area to target for that bearish reversal. Okay? If you guys have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'm chilling. Let's get back to the video.
This was $70,000. We have to do the math here. Okay? Common sense. So you're even in the market. You've been in the market for 2 years in these moronic FANG stocks that have gone nowhere, right? The most crowded trade on earth. You're flat to down after 2 years. And now you're looking over at a money market fund or a one-year treasury and you get $510,000 of interest risk-free when a year ago you were getting 70.
All right. In other words, what you're saying, Larry, if I'm hearing you right, I'll let you run with this, is that effectively that the average investor is smart enough to recognize there's now a choice between stocks and bonds. So that average investor is going to say, I'm going to sell my stocks and I'm going to go buy bonds and just make 5%. Is that basically where you're getting the notion?
Yeah, that's exactly what he's saying.
Right?
There's real competition now to stocks. If I'm going to make $500,000 in fixed income, what the hell am I, dithering around in the stock market if, in fact, I'm worried about a profits recession? Is that right, Larry?
Maria, let me ask you a question. Maria, Elaine Gazzarelli in the 80s, right? And you were probably too young for this, right?
I remember Elaine Gazzarelli. No, I remember. She was a real long-time bull.
Well, she was a long-time bull, but you know what flipped her is her model. She had this risk-free model versus equities. And it made her so famous because in the summer of 2007, the risk-free rate went up so much, she flipped to bearish because of that risk-free rate threat to equities. I'm seeing a similar dynamic now. An incredible stat is 2s, 10s are 100 basis points inverted. So that means the 2-year treasury is 100 basis points more than 10s. That's threatening. But then on top of that, you look at the underperformance of the regional banks. So your regional banks are your classic canary in the coal mine. They're underperforming the S&P by like 6, 7, 8% over the last 6, 9 months, a year. So the regional banks are telling you something really bad is happening under the surface in commercial real estate, auto loans, residential. There's really massive cracks under the surface, and that's why the market probably goes down 10, 20%, maybe 30% the next 60 days.
10, 20, 30% in the next 60 days. What do you do and what do you say about the jobs picture? We've got the February jobs report out on Friday. We're waiting on ADP. It's going to be out in 30 minutes time. We'll see what the ADP numbers show in 30 minutes. But for the jobs number, we're expecting 203,000 jobs added to the economy, Larry. We're expecting the unemployment rate to hold steady at 3.4%. The ADP report, which is out in 30 minutes, is also expecting job growth of 200,000 private sector jobs. So how do you have a recession? How do you have a stock market sell-off, a crash, when we get this kind of job growth?
Well, if you look back at 2000, right, the biggest number in jobs right before the 2000 drawdown, 2001, the strongest number in the previous year and a half was literally right before the market buckled. And one of the weird things is, and Adam's alluding to this, and I can see what Adam's making a good point, jobs are strong. But if you look at, when I talk to behind me, we run an institutional chat with about 650 investors around the world. And one of the things they're talking about is when you have this January number that was so spectacular, it's gotten a lot of people excited about a soft landing. But if you look back the last 20, 30 years, when you have this seasonal adjustment in January, typically the February, when you have that spectacular kind of outperformance, which is seasonal, typically there's like a mean reversion in February. It'll give the Fed a little breathing room, right? So that may in some ways help. But in that case, you want to be long gold miners and things that will benefit
stations with all those institutions. Where do you hide away from gold? Is that it? I mean, gold is a hedge. You say buy the gold miners in the stock market. Are there any other areas to hide within the stock market if, in fact, these predictions are right, that we're going to see a stock market crash within 60 days?
Okay, one of the things we're looking at is from 2001 to 2003, 4.
Also, I'm going to say this too. The reason why it's important to do your own research, like your independent research, is because claims like this can be really scary to people that don't understand anything that's happening around the world. So if I was a average person, right, I had no idea how the economy worked, inflation, the recession, etc., interest rates, and I was listening to a guy like this saying that there was going to be a market crash in the next 60 days, and let's say I had a lot of, I had a huge portfolio, right, vested, over 10 companies in the stock market, etc. And I heard that we're going to have a market crash in the next 60 days. I think that's the claim he's making. That would put a lot of fear into my positions, and then I'd most likely take them out. And let's say nothing happens, then I potentially missed out on a gain or a potential what's the word? Return. That's the word I was looking for. So it's important to do your own research, because if you just listen to people like this making huge claims and something doesn't go your way, you have no one to blame but yourself. So this guy, I forgot his name, he's making a huge claim that there's going to be a market crash in the next 60 days, which is really scary because this puts a lot of fear into the positions that people have already.
I was on the Lehman trading floor in that period. And when you went around the trading floor after the dot-com crash, the most popular investment was European global equities. And if you look at a chart, Adam can pull this up for you later, but if you look at a chart of the global equities ex-US, okay, global equities ex-United States versus the NASDAQ versus the S&P, you're breaking a multi-year down channel. You're talking about 10, 15 years of massive outperformance from the United States. Now, for the first time, you're seeing spectacular outperformance from global equities, MSCI ex-US, which we would say. That is where the outperformance is going to be.
Well, I mean, look, okay. What you're saying is that U.S. stocks sell off and Europe doesn't. I have a hard time believing that. That, in fact, if the U.S. sells off, we get a stock market crash, the rest of the world doesn't follow. And that MSCI index is loaded with Chinese stocks. So there's that issue as well, the China threat.
Yes, the EWU, well, first of all, you're 100% right. In the initial drawdown, the European equities will underperform with the U.S., but they'll outperform the U.S. over the next 2 years.
Okay.
The EWU portfolio is a golden portfolio of value global equities. EW, it's referenced as the United Kingdom, but it's a Hall of Fame basket of like global value equities.
Yeah.
That's, I think, that hard asset basket, that's the basket that's going to outperform what we call financial assets in the United States, so growth stocks.
All right, Larry, we'll be watching. Is there a trigger for this stock market crash? Is it more inflation data? Is it more economic data that misses estimates?
The trigger will be like the S&P earnings. Everybody's expecting, the street is expecting $226.
Yeah.
That's priced for perfection. So what happens is when we deteriorate in jobs the next 2-3 months, that will bring into question the S&P earnings, and the S&P earnings are probably 190, so that'll trigger it.
And that's the Stephanie Pomboy narrative. That's what she's been saying on this program now. It's going to be a profits recession. Well, I guess that's what makes a market, Larry. If you're selling, it looks like Adam's going to be buying.
I am buying.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's what makes a market. Larry McDonald, it's great to see you, sir. Thank you so much.
Hey, fellow lobsters, if you've ever read 12 Rules for Life,
So yeah, again, guys, I'm definitely gonna do my own research and possibly put out a video on my 2 cents. But I'm curious, what do you guys think? Is there gonna be a market crash? Do you think there's gonna be a market crash? Why or why not? So again, we're just gonna wait for the remaining of the time. I'm gonna end the live in the next 30 minutes. If we don't find any positions manually, I'll just send them out in the Discord, or I'll let you guys know what orders I'm placing for this morning. If it's buy stops, if it's sell stops, limits, etc. But the only trade that I'm looking at right now is a potential buy on GU, and then gold. I'm kind of just analyzing it for this morning. I'm not sure where it's gonna move, but if anything, we're looking for sells. I know people are selling right now. I'm personally just gonna wait until we have a shorter pullback so that my stop loss is safer, because I'm looking at the daily time frame. You know, when it comes to gold, again, I don't really scalp on commodities, guys, or gold. I try to find big moves that can set me up for the week, so 100 to 200 pip moves. I know a lot of people are scalping for that sell right now, but me personally, I'm gonna wait until we have a nice range and we hit this nice pivotal point for a bearish reversal, okay? So that's just me. But if anything, I'm gonna execute on GU this morning for a buy stop, depending on where price is in the next 30 minutes. If you guys have any questions, let me know. If you guys have any pairs you want me to analyze, go ahead and shout them out. Otherwise, hope you guys are having a good morning. This is going to be pretty slow. Like I said, there's not too much going on Forex Factory. We have no news. Literally nothing's happening. So this day, I'm probably going to dedicate it to research, like I mentioned on this video, or the video that we watched on the market crash. I might just do research, so I have stuff to talk about this weekend, since it's going to be a slow day. But if you guys have any questions, let me know. I've been doing a lot behind the camera, guys. I know I haven't been as consistent, especially last week, because I've been working on a lot of projects outside of this channel. I manage other channels as well, so please be patient with me. But I should be good to go for the remaining of the year, Monday to Thursday. And YouTube uploads schedule should be posted sometime this week in Discord. I'm hoping I should be able to post at least twice a week, but we'll see, because I'm still in school, guys, so my schedule sometimes is all over the place, not gonna lie. So yeah, we're just gonna wait it out. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Again, hope you guys are having a good morning. Shout out to everyone that's in the stream. Hope you guys are having a good start. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, I will answer them. Otherwise, I'm just chilling. All right, guys, so I'm actually going to go ahead and place this buy stop in the next 3 minutes. So at 7:10, we're going to have an order. Again, I'm going to be taking this trade. You guys don't have to. If anything, you guys can just wait for me to recap it tomorrow morning. But I will be placing an order in the next 2 minutes to 3 minutes on GU. If you guys have any questions, let me know. If you guys have any pairs you want me to analyze, feel free to call them out. Otherwise, we're just going to be focusing on GU this morning for the next or last 30 minutes. So I'm going to give it 2 more minutes. Alrighty, so let's see. GU, we can go ahead and target the next range. Let's go ahead and scale out real quick on the 4 hours. So we can say, okay. So here's our newly found resistance outside of this range that we want to target. And then let's go ahead and place this order. So I probably place this around here. We'll make it 20 pips, and then we can say a 1 to 2. So let's go ahead and fix this real quick. So let's see, if we want to target 50 pips and we want to make it a 1 to 2, let's make sure our entry makes sense. Okay, we can actually target 40. This is actually better. The reason why I like this better because we have room in case we experience a fake out, right? For price to close and have a continuation. And also, a lot of people might be asking why I'm doing it like this. So the reason why I'm waiting for this break of structure, because let's say if I were to buy right now, right? And price actually decided to sell, it wanted to take its time, it had more fluctuation in this range itself, then we know that buy would have been invalid. So this retracement right here that I have marked up would have been an invalid trade. We would have lost that trade. Rather than having this buy stop already placed in case price has more time to fluctuate and then eventually push out outside of the range. So we might get this move later this week. It might happen this morning. But we know if we do have a break of structure, it's because we have all these highs that need to be taken out, right? There's liquidity floating above this zone. But if we buy right now and the price decides to sell and come back down to our original support, then we know that trade would have been invalid if we bought at this point. So this is why I love trading breakouts more than just trading simple retracements, because a breakout is telling us that we have data that needs to be grabbed. So that's why I'm placing a buy stop rather than just buying right now. All right, so let me go ahead and type this in. Hopefully that makes sense too. If it doesn't, let me know, I'll explain it again. All right, let me send this to Discord real quick. All right, let me hop in. So we have GU. This is a buy stop. So price, we have 1.2, 1484. Stop loss 1.21264, and then take profit 1.21924. All right. So I'm in that trade, and again, if we don't get that move this morning, again, I'm just going to hold it throughout the week, and we'll see what happens. What's going on? What's going on? VOV girl. Hope you're having a good morning. Again, I'll just send updates in the Discord as well. But so far, I'm only in one trade, guys. Let me go ahead and update the display on OBS. Let's see. So trades taken live, we only have one, and that's on GBP USD. And that is a buy stop. All right. So we have about 12 more minutes. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, we're just going to be chilling. Hope you guys are having a good start of your week. If you guys have any pairs you're going to analyze, let me know. But I'm just going to be pretty silent for the remaining of the time, just watching this trade play out. please feel free to have any questions. I will answer any. And if you're not in Discord, make sure you join because I will send updates for any type of trade that I execute on live. All right. All right, so we have about 5 more minutes. Again, this was a slow morning. Only took one trade, guys. If you have any questions, let me know. All updates will be in Discord for any trades that I executed on live. And like I mentioned earlier, I am going to do some research on the market crash, this rumor that's been going on, so I can put out a video on YouTube trying to give my 2 cents. But yeah, we'll be live tomorrow as well, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., Monday through Thursday. And that's about it. If you guys have any questions, let me know. But we have about 4 more minutes. I appreciate everyone that hopped on the live. Hope you guys learned something. If not, gained a perspective, a new perspective in the market that you didn't see before. Hopefully this concept that I went over made sense when I was going over liquidity, the box concept, or the box and strategy, breakouts, all that stuff. Hopefully it makes sense. If it doesn't, hopefully I can break it down easier next time. Gold is starting to push up a little more, which is awesome. That's what we want to see. I will also send updates for that as well. And I'm not going to place a sell limit. The reason why is because we only have this line as a confirmation. You know, there's a difference between having a confirmation or having multiple confirmations to enter in on a position and just saying, oh, I want price to sell here, so let me place a sell limit, which you shouldn't do. You want to have your confirmations first. But I will send any updates for gold if I see anything. The only trade that I'm in right now, guys, is on GU with a buy stop. If we don't trigger it this morning, then we are going to have something later this week. All right, so that's all I have for this morning. You guys enjoy the rest of your Monday. Rinse and repeat tomorrow, 6 a.m. Eastern time. And I'll see you guys later. I'm out.